with Amir Yass. Everybody knows him. He was a celebrity publicist. He has a massive TikTok following. He knows where all the bodies are buried in Hollywood. He knows all the secrets. So thank you for taking a couple minutes to hang out with me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people totally know you from the whole Gia Giudice TikTok, that cute, sweet little song. You were the one that kind of unearthed it and brought it out, and then every celebrity was doing it. What was your creative process in bringing this back to life?
Well, when Biden got elected, I was sitting there watching the inauguration and thinking, wow, like, what is Trump feeling like? And I've never really sympathized with him at all. I'm not anywhere supportive of Trump, but there was a moment where I just thought, wait, what is he feeling? And then I just happened to be on Twitter and I saw the video from 13 years. It just said, waking up in the morning, da, 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 da. And I was like, wait, this is so Trump, because he's waking up in the morning and they're doing the little transfer and Biden's moving in and, the whole situation, and he's on the helicopter flying away. And I'm thinking, he must be listening to this. So I posted it and it said, on January 20th, this is what Trump is feeling. Nobody really did anything with it. It maybe got 5,000 likes or something. It wasn't a big thing. So I about a month later, I posted just the video with no caption, no explanation. And I literally woke up the next morning and I had probably 500 messages, text messages from friends and family. And I was like, what's going on? And they're like, oh my God, Will Smith just did your video, da, 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 and your name's under it. And obviously I didn't sing it, so I understand that. But it was just bizarre that I brought that back to light. And it was just such a crazy ride from there. I mean, it was just every celebrity was posting it. And then Gia did it, finally, because I had messaged her a bunch of times and I was like, can you please duet your own song? You need to get on it. So she did, and the rest is history, but it was crazy.
So did you end up talking to Gia at all, or messaging back and forth with her about it, or?
She just did it and I commented and I reposted it, but no, there wasn't a lot of communication. And I think that obviously because it is her song, I get it, I didn't make it. But what I thought was annoying was that Bravo kept using it without tagging me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait a second, on TikTok, all of the celebrities, if you look on every celebrity's page, even Will Smith, you can see my name. But Bravo decided to repost it without giving me any credit and tagged her. And I understand that, listen, it's her song, but I brought it to life. I mean, there are so many people that messaged me and said, I'm rewatching RHONJ because, Real Housewives of New Jersey, because I want to see that episode. So I'm like, listen, I'm bringing you followers and you're not really, and then they tried to send me a cease and desist. And I'm like, I'm not trying to profit off of this. And also on TikTok, it's free reign. You can post any video of you can post a Mariah Carey song. Yeah. There's no licensing and stuff. So I just thought it was kind of tacky. They should have literally, Gia should have sent me a sweater. Listen, you only started the sweatshirt line because of me.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of a bummer. And then people said I was bitter, and because everyone was saying even at the reunion, they said Will Smith started it.
Yeah.
No, I did. I mean, it would be nice if I got some credit. So it was kind of frustrating. I was a little disappointed in Bravo, but whatever. It is what it is.
Well, but it's a creative art that you do. I mean, your TikTok is hilarious, and you're a comedian on there. So it is interesting, how you were watching this all happen, and you see this historic moment, you think Gia Giudice must pull the song out, So I mean, we love how you think. I mean, that's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it was quite a bummer. I mean, I was disappointed in TikTok as well. I have friends who've done other viral sounds. And, I have a friend who works at TikTok, and literally he's like, I remember that from 2 years ago. And they were invited to TikTok headquarters. They got gift bags. I was actually in the TikTok newsletter, but they didn't even send me anything. And I'm not asking for free stuff, but it would be nice to get an acknowledgement. And I think because obviously it's her singing, but I'm the one that, popularized it. And I thought it's just sometimes, and I can't help but think, listen, Chinese company, they don't like queer people. My video started getting suspended and suppressed after that. So I wonder if there is a connection. I actually did an interview with the LA Times where they were trying to figure out, legally, can TikTok do this? And because they are a Chinese company, they're not an American company, they can kind of suppress content. So, which is frustrating. Quite frustrating.
Yeah, no, and that is because as someone who writes, you know, when somebody takes my interview, doesn't give me credit or something, it's sort of like, hey, wait a second. So we need to set the record straight and bring this back up, because it was really fun.
Thank you. Thanks. I just wanted people to have fun, and I didn't want money, and like people were like, oh, you're so money hungry. It's not about the money, it's about the credit. I feel like so many people would like save the video, then post it as if they did it. It really upset me. Like you know, it's called Hey You Social. It's like a huge platform on TikTok. They have so many videos. They reposted it as if it was theirs, like waking up in the morning. And I'm like, okay, you guys didn't start the trend. That's like really frustrating. And you know, I DM'd them and they were like, oh, well, we're like an affiliate of Bravo. We can do whatever we want. I get it. But there is some like protocols on social media that you need to follow. Like when I post someone's meme, I always tag them. And if I don't, someone will tag them and be like, can you give credit, please? Like that's important, you know? That happened with Erica Jane where she didn't give credit, right? And that's frustrating because someone came up with that meme. Someone was funny and creative. So it can be frustrating.
Very frustrating. But I mean, you know, you do roll with it because the stories you've told me about working with in Hollywood and Erica Jane herself, which is very interesting. We got to talk about this because when I first met you, you had the amazing story of that time working with her where she was so mean and such a diva. And now you're kind of having some fun watching her on Beverly Hills. Tell me about it.
I am. And it's like kind of weird because last episode when she was on the yacht and she's like drunk. And I think that like, in the beginning of last season, I was like really like, ugh. And then by the end of the season, I was like, she's kind of getting beat up. And listen, I believe in like the human spirit. And I'm like, maybe she was having a really bad day and she came for me. And it was a time in my life where I didn't really need that on me. But whatever, she did what she did. And I talked about it and it was my truth and I'm moving on. But just seeing her like be a little bit less, we're good, you know, so aggressive. It was refreshing. She was like having fun and you know, she's trying to be a human being with Sutton. I think she's trying. And listen, she has a lot of trauma. Her mom is very intense, very aggressive. So I know that she's had a tough time. And I'm like such a softie. Like, listen, I have that publicist side and that kind of aggressive social media persona. But generally, I'm very soft. Like, I'm like a marshmallow. So I'm like, you know what? Let bygones be bygones. I honestly have no ill will towards her at all.
That's great because, you know, we keep seeing stories and blogs and stuff, and it's a nonstop beat up. Do you think maybe now's the time people just need to take a beat and sort of like be like, let her journey through this and chill?
Absolutely. And I always say like, if the roles were reversed and it was, let's say, Tom and she was the one doing, would they treat him this way? I don't think so, right? Patriarchy is still alive and well in this country. We still, obviously with the abortion ban, men are still running the show. And I think when it comes to men, we're just a lot more like, oh, well, like, you know, come on. Like, did he really? Or, you know, how many men are taking millions of dollars, not even from orphans, from hospitals and from the Red Cross, and we kind of forgive it. I mean, the CEO of the Red Cross took millions of dollars. Like, so we tend to kind of forgive it when men do it, but something about a woman, like, how dare her? She's a mother, she's maternal. It's like, yeah, even if she did take the money, she was in a system where he was taking a hell of a lot more money. Yeah. And just because we're saying now he has Alzheimer's, which I don't believe. I don't believe he has that. That's just an excuse. He's a lawyer. It's a very smart thing. If you say you're incompetent, they can't take your money. They can't come for you. And there was a time where I kind of thought she was maybe colluding with him, but her life has imploded so much that I'm like, would she do this? I really don't think so.
I think also their marriage was definitely an imbalance in power too. So.
Absolutely. There was moments where he was very much the definition of a narcissist. He would build her up. You know, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're going to do Chicago. And then he'd be like, shut your mouth, right? Yeah. Like, it's like that kind of build up and then you break them down and you build them up again. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't love that for her. Yeah.
No, and I love that you're talking like this because I know before there was still some hurt there, but I can tell you really just like water under the bridge. And
absolutely. I'm like, again, like for anyone out there who thinks like, cause I still get the messages like, oh, Erica Jane's so awful. I'm like, yeah, like, is she, but you know, every Housewives needs a villain, right? So you have Teresa on New Jersey, we need that person that's gonna, because otherwise it tends to be boring if it's kumbaya. Yeah. Like we need someone that's gonna, and so she's kind of the contentious one. So and she plays that part really well, whether it's a part, whether she really is, evil. I don't really know. But what I know is that like there were glimpses of what I saw was a very entitled person. And remember, when I worked with her, she had all the money. She was spending $500,000 on glam, right? Like she was living the life. But even for her, like I understood really genuinely when she said, like, for a lot of people, it's like, why are you spending this money? But for her, fashion, makeup, it's an art. It's like her role play. It's like fun for her. So I get when people criticize, but remember, she doesn't have like 2.5 children, and she has like a child that's grown. It's just her. Yeah. So let her, if she wants to spend 20 grand on glam to fly them out, like, okay. But like, I understood Crystal's perspective too. She's like, I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm frugal. Like everyone kind of does their own thing. And I think there's this idea, and you know, having grown up in a very wealthy neighborhood, I saw people that drove the same car for 13 years. And then you see people that are, and they're sometimes more wealthy than the people that are buying a new car every year. People spend their money differently. So I think we just need to stop judging. But again, watching Housewives, it's part of the fun, is to judge. So
right. As a queer Muslim man, you are putting it out there. You are definitely a champion, because right now we are watching the LGBTQ community being attacked viciously, constantly. And I feel like your voice is so important. Tell me a little bit about some of the work that you're going to be doing, or that you are doing, to sort of really support the community.
Yeah, I mean, since this abortion ban a couple of days ago, I've still been in a daze. I'm like still in shock. I was listening to the news this morning and just like crying, because they were talking about this woman who like the price of an abortion is $450 and she only has 150. So they were like supplementing her income. So it's really, really like, it's so funny to hear. I've heard that a lot of Californians say, well, they could just come here. Like people that are trying to get an abortion because they cannot afford a child, cannot afford a $700, $800, $900, whatever, even a gas bill to drive to California. So there's still a lot of especially white male privilege that's very like, well, then don't have sex, or don't. There was a woman that said, well, women should know how to control when the man can ejaculate. Have you heard of rape, incest? Like, I don't. So there's such a level of privilege in this country that's so apparent. So for me, I mean, I've always worked very closely with the LGBT Center. I used to have panels that were talking about, and it really ruffled a lot of feathers, talking about racism in the queer community. People are like, oh, we're not racist. We're a minority as well. You can absolutely be racist. I have been more targeted from white gay men than any other community for being Muslim, being called Aladdin. Are you a terrorist? I mean, I've gotten all of these messages on a dating app, mind you. Like, this is not, you know, or like, oh, I love that you look kind of white, so you're Middle Eastern, so we get that, you know, double check. Yeah, fetishization. This is like in the gay community, this is so cooked into it because, you know, gay men, especially white gay men, they had clubs that wouldn't let in people of color, wouldn't let trans people. They would have trans people arrested coming into a gay club. Like, that was very New York in the 60s. People don't know the history. So I just try to be like a champion. I want to have fun. I want to like have a good time. But sometimes, and I get this message a lot, people are like, used to be so fun. I just don't know if I can be fun when they're literally taking out a peck from Lightyear, right? Like a movie where literally that scene was between two old lesbians. Like, it's so not sexualized, but they're taking it in and out. Some movie theaters aren't showing it. And this is in America, a country that judged the Middle East, judged Asia, said, oh God, like, how dare you guys? Like, well, how do you think infanticide starts? People cannot get an abortion. They don't want a child. They're going to, you know, it's like, and sometimes it's like, either I kill my child or I die from starvation. These things are very, very, and I get it. In America, when we're worried about our chai latte, it seems so far away. But there are parts of America, even Central California. I went to a wedding in San Francisco and I was like, wow, a lot of these areas feel very rural and Trump country. And even though it's in California, right? So we have a lot of areas where it's a lot of conservatism and all of that. So I'm a little emboldened to possibly run for office. I mean, I don't know what that looks like. I know it sounds kind of crazy because I'm like a TikTok person and a former publicist, but you know, at the end of the day, I am intersectional, right? So I'm not only queer, but I'm Persian, I'm Muslim. I have so much going on in my life that I understand where people are coming from. And I've always been so in awe of women, right? So like, I mean, since I opened my eyes, I'm like, oh my God, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey. I mean, and gay men love divas. And so we've always loved women. And I think because we're in touch with our feminine side more. Yeah. I have always like wanted to be a champion of women. I'm like, I just can't sit by the sidelines and just post a meme or post a story or do a live. I'm like, I need to do something to change the fact that like, I don't have children, but if I was to have a child one day, I'm not going to put them in school. Like, it's all safe. So this country is like going to hell in a handbasket, like my old principal used to say. But it's true. Like, it's a mess. You know, I'm like literally considering moving to Canada, but I'm like, listen, I've never been able to outrun my problem. So for me, I'm like, I'm going to stay put and I'm going to make changes. And I believe that one voice, especially a voice as strong as mine, can make a change. And I refuse to sit by and let these conservatives and these racists and these homophobes and these Islamophobes continue to bash this country, because at this core, the country is beautiful. We were immigrants that left the UK, wanted to find our way. And I think that it's sad that after 300 years, like we've kind of lost our way. And even 4th of July, I'm like, what is there to celebrate? Like, cancel the holiday. We need to do a do-over. I mean, I used to look at the American flag with my parents who are immigrants and be proud. Now, when I see an American flag, I'm like, are you a Trump supporter? Are you racist? I mean, that's so sad that our American flag is now associated with that in just 4 years.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's really...
So this interest, how hard are you going to go on this? Do you think that you are ready to actually, what do we need? Signatures? Do we need, have you looked into that yet? Or are you just like mulled it over? Or?
No, I mulled it over on Friday. And then by Saturday, I was like already looking it up. And, you know, you need a certain amount of signatures and you need to have like a good amount of money to campaign and funding and all that. And, you know, obviously I'm still trying to make moves to be on TV in a bigger way. And I'm doing a show about like different queer people around America, like kind of like a docu-series. Hopefully if I can sell that, that'll all give me another voice to kind of really extrapolate out. Again, I don't want to be the typical like Reagan style actor becomes politician, but I genuinely believe that I can make a change. And I think that someone like who looks like me, and like people used to laugh, right? I was like a chubby Muslim kid living in Orange County saying, I'm going to be on TV, I'm going to be famous, I'm going to have a name. And every day I get closer to that. And I think all of those people that laughed are like probably eating crow. And so I think that like, it used to seem so out of touch for me to ever be in office. But, you know, you have AOC, you have Ilhan Omar, you have all these fabulous people. You know, there's a trans person running for Congress. I mean, there's a drag queen running for city council in New York. I mean, there's so much iterations of different people running. Yeah. So for the first time, I'm like, could I do this? Can I do this? Like, and I have such a thick skin. I've been through so much that like all of the nasty, I got a message yesterday. Someone was like, you know, trying to argue with me about, you know, Islam like says that queer people can't exist and you are an abomination, blah, blah, blah. My relationship with God is private. My relationship with God is not going to come up in politics. I am here because I want to fix gun laws. I want to fix abortion rights. I mean, I think there's and listen, people don't understand. Clarence Thomas himself is in an interracial marriage. If you're coming after all this stuff, guess what's next, boo, is interracial marriage. Guess what's next? Gay marriage, contraception. And historically, taking away contraception, taking away abortion does not change the fact that people are going to get it. It's just going to be dangerous now. Yeah. Right? Like it's just going to be illegal and back alley abortions. And I think a lot of people I get it. It's kind of a lot. And as human beings, you know, if you look at marketing, if you tell too much bad news, people turn off. Yeah. Right. And I understand that we can always change the channel, and a lot of, you know, straight white men can change the channel. And guess who makes the laws, right? They don't really need to watch the protests. They don't need to watch our outcries. They don't care. They don't care. And so if you can get to a place where you understand that, and again, it doesn't need to be like so aggressive where it's like, I'm going to run for Congress. Just talk to your family about it. Start having conversations, make people uncomfortable. I mean, the very small change that I made in my family, I'm like, you guys can't say Oriental. You have to say Asian. It might seem like, oh, well, whatever thing to someone else, but in my family, making that change has been astronomical, right? Creating space for people, like that's the kind of stuff I want to do. And I guess I used to think like I'm less than because I'm gay, but it's funny because that actually being gay made me a better Muslim, made me a better person. And I never really thought that, because I always thought being gay is bad, so it's going to just make the rest of my life bad. And I don't know, for anyone out there who's struggling, like it actually really being yourself, whatever it is pretty freaking powerful. So do that.
It is. I think you're one of the strongest people I know. And I think that's what we need, because we don't need a bunch of people to be afraid. We need people to stand up and say no. And we're going to, you know, support human beings. And I just cannot believe. So this is what we need. And I think we're going to be watching now. Now you said it. Now it's out there.
No, I wanted to say, because I think it's important to sometimes say things and be held accountable, because I think a lot of people will say things and they're like, I have to do it tomorrow. I know that this journey to Congress is going to take me at least a decade, and that's fine. I'm in it for the long haul, and I'm going to make the steps to really get there in the right way and to really have my voice, because I am not there because I want the clout or the attention, all that. I am there because I want to stand in front of Congress and say, you are literally allowing kids to die, and it doesn't seem like you care. Is it because they're brown children? Is it because they're Muslim children? Is it because they're in cages? Like, what do you really care? I mean, when I was watching J-Lo's documentary and she's talking about the cages at the Super Bowl, I'm like, nothing has changed. Yes, we have Biden, he's very progressive, whatever, but a lot of stuff on the ground has not really shifted. People are so, literally paralyzed with school debt. What if you're paralyzed with school debt and having to pay $5,000 a month? How can you really change anything in your community? You're paralyzed. Yeah. So I understand that, and I hear this a lot. People are like, "Well, I can't take on another cause." I get that, and it's important to just look at the fact that like Ukraine is miles and miles and miles away from us, and of course, what is happening is so treacherous. But the fact that we all of a sudden found $45 billion to throw at that when our own country needs so much help. I mean, if you go to downtown LA or go to the Tenderloin in San Francisco, there are 60,000, not 60 people, 60,000 homeless people. That's like a whole community, right? But we don't seem to really care because, they're Black and brown mainly. So do we really, right? So I think it's important to just kind of see that stuff. And I don't say this to make people uncomfortable, or maybe I do. I just think that it's okay to be a little uncomfortable because America, we've been shielded from the rest of the world for so long. Mm-hmm. I never had that privilege. I lived in the Middle East for 2 years. I was a child of immigrants. I never really had the privilege to be like, oh, I get to like kind of be carefree. My friend said, I'm living in fear all the time. I'm like, welcome to Muslims since 2001. We've literally been like on the defensive since then, right? So I think it's just, again, just taking a moment to look at your neighbor and be like, wow, like my neighbor is an immigrant who has trouble speaking English and they're in this country and they're working. Like, have a little respect and just a little grace for people around you. Because I think Americans can be so harsh and so and fiercely individualistic, which is so beautiful, right? Do your thing, don't be codependent. But just, it's okay if like we can just take a second to worry about our neighbors, right? Like, and again, if you're religious, that is a good Christian thing to do. I went to Christian school for 15 years. Yeah. Worrying about your neighbor is the most beautiful thing. I mean, I saw a bumper sticker that really kind of embraced what America is right now. And that really bummed me out. It said, I don't care about your health. I care about my rights. So that in of itself is so scary, right? And I understand you don't want to, nobody likes wearing a mask. Nobody wants to wear a mask. Nobody wants to get a vaccine. Nobody wants that. But we do it because it's part of public health. We do it because nobody wants to get a jab and then your arm is, hurting, whatever. But we do it because it's for our safety, but it's also for other people's safety. So that bumper sticker really made me feel like this is not the America that George Washington had envisioned, right? This is not what we thought would happen after the abolishing of slavery with, Abraham Lincoln. What are, like, those people are rolling in their graves. Because this is not what they were looking for.
No.
Yeah.
No,
so
but that's
anyway, I'm off my soapbox.
But no, stay on your soapbox because this is what we need, and we're going to be following and paying attention. So now it's out there. But I really appreciate your time today, and I don't feel like this is going to be the last time we talk. So.
No, it won't. You're wonderful, and thank you again. I just wanted to say this while we're still rolling, is that you've been so supportive, and we've never met in person, but I feel like some people you just have a connection with and you just feel, and I've been very supported by you. And even when things were very rough, you always did a lot of really amazing articles that uplifted me in a time that I really needed it, because people were just like, I was, like, I don't know, patient zero with all the drama. I mean, it was crazy.
Well, it was a little silly. It was a little blown out of proportion. We gotta get back to basics here, and love each other. But anyway, thank you so much. And keep me posted on the campaign.
I will.
All right. Take care.